just certain words that set people off. This is what Jerry Seinfeld was complaining about last week when he said college audiences just want to use these words. That's racist. That's sexist. That's prejudice. They don't even know what they're talking about. An opinion echoed by Chris Rock, who said he stopped playing colleges because of their unwillingness to offend anybody. And Larry the Cable Guy concurs. He said, it really is a shame that nobody can handle comedy anymore. You know, when Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, and Larry the Cable Guy say you have a stick up your ass, you don't have to wait for the x-rays to come back.
Had a good Christmas. You know what I mean? And it's been a couple of weeks. So let's get into it. All right. So we're going to do some of these news stories is relatively interesting. Well, it's only two because Henry basically made sure that we only did one. So the first news story is coming from the U.S. News. This is to piggyback off a conversation maybe like 3 podcasts ago where we were talking about Oregon now decriminalizing hardcore drugs. So this is from the U.S. News. Overdose deaths far outpaced COVID deaths in San Francisco. A record of 621 people died of drug overdoses in San Francisco so far this year, a staggering number that far outpaces the number of 173 deaths in COVID in the city thus far. The crisis is fueled by the powerful painkiller fentanyl. Could have been far worse if it wasn't for nearly 3 times Narcan was used from January to the beginning of November. Many people died of overdose in low-income apartment buildings and city-funded hotel rooms for the homeless. Some found in sidewalks, alleyways, and parks across the city. So how do we feel that we are seeing that San Francisco is reporting that more people are dying from these hardcore drugs than COVID, after we just had a conversation about Oregon's state of decriminalizing hardcore drugs?
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. On one side,
my man Smith is like, yeah, I try to tell you, mofos. He got that look like, I try to tell you, mofos. Y'all try to legalize hardcore drugs. These bodies are found in parks, alleyways, sidewalks. Hey, but go ahead, Black Zeus. My bad.
I was waiting. Hey, Cash, I was waiting. I'm just saying, I was waiting.
This face was just telling me, like, yo, this is a bad idea. But go ahead, Black Zeus.
So here's the thing. It's the fact of...
Can you cut your camera on, man?
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I like to look a man in his eyes when I talk.
We don't like the voice of God. And you was getting sick, nigga. We want to see you, nigga. You was sick, nigga. We want to see.
He's really still alive.
We want to see what you look like, nigga.
He got jokes.
You can put the hoodie on. Nigga.
He said,
"We know it's hoodie season all the time."
All the time. I wouldn't have any other way.
Right.
Goddamn touchscreen.
While Shu is trying to figure his.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah,
my touchscreen is acting up.
That's what I was saying. I listen. I said that hardcore legalization of drugs will have motherfuckers dying. That's some bullshit. I don't got nothing to say about that. That shit is dumb as hell. Listen, that's exactly what's going to happen. Motherfuckers going to kill themselves. What do you expect? What do you think when you legalize some hard-ass drugs?
Yeah.
And now the other side is like, you got to understand, drugs is different, man. Like, my father was a crackhead. My father used crack for a long time. He don't use that shit anymore. He cleaned up about 20 years clean and shit. But at the end of the day, like, nobody is giving these fiends, that's what they are. They're fiending for the drug. Nobody's giving these fiends the assistance that they really need. To just say, oh, go to a program, get yourself clean. That shit ain't it. A lot of people got a lot of underlying issues, and they think the escapism, as their safety mechanism from what the book talks about, think their escapism is the drug. You know what I mean? That's how they found their outlet. And a lot of that shit is just the addiction, and addiction is a symptom. Addiction itself is a virus. Fuck COVID. Addiction itself is a virus. Addiction to a drug will cause you to lose everything. Speaking from experience of what my father lost. So yeah, to have these hardcore drugs and to have them disseminated to people, and you actually are not giving them you have no social services for these people. So at the end of the day, when you talk about a few weeks ago, we said Oregon wanted to do this shit and legalize this. Did they talk about the social services? Did they talk about the other aspects of helping people trying to get off the drugs? Or is it just making drugs legal so people could take it and be fucked up American citizens? Like, what are we really doing? That shit was stupid. I knew that shit would backlash. And look, on some real shit, crack, bruh. I saw people dead in fucking alleyways and shit with crack. Like, I saw that shit. I saw that shit with my own eyes. So alleyways, parks, all that shit, that's just nothing new. We just circling the goddamn wagon. All we doing is we're on a fucking carousel going up and down on a fucking horse. And nothing is changing. You know what I mean? The only thing that has to change is you have to know within yourself, like, yo, I'm not going to do drugs because, especially if I have an addictive personality, if I'm already I have to be conscious enough. If I have an addictive personality, I can't get into drugs because I'm going to be addicted to this shit. Because I'm addicted to everything I do. If I gamble, I'm addicted to that shit. I'm addicted to women. I'm addicted to reading. I'm addicted to working out. I'm addicted to fucking watching football on the sun. I'm addicted. You know what I mean? Because that's my personality. So I got to stay away from certain shit because I know the kind of personality that I have. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all go ahead, man. I was just talking.
Like I said, I'm having mixed feelings about it. The reality is that the same ones that overdosed are the same ones that were using it before it was illegal, before it became legal. They just have more easy access to it. So the question is, would those most likely have been overdosed and dead further down the line, or they would have been using the drug consistently over time? Either way, those drugs would have been used, and those people would, most likely just, would probably end up that way, one way or another. That's just my speculation. I can't say that's a guarantee.
Yeah.
The reality is that what are you talking about? Cigarettes, alcohol, drugs. We all know that these things have detrimental effects on our health. And we all know ODing on these things, obviously causes death. The thing is that those of us that are prone to be addicted to things, like Smith said, are the ones that are going to be at the most danger. And those are the ones that really need to be aware of what they're taking themselves into, and being, acting accordingly. At the end of the day, it's like, we all have to take responsibility for our own actions and our own decisions, in our own lives, so it is heartbreaking to think of how many people, you'd find all over the place just.
And this is just in San Francisco. Out. Actually, I dived in deeper. The drug problem in America is horrendous. It's horrendous, But go ahead.
Because of what your drug is. So hold on, Smith. So the whole thing is that, like, I was having a discussion with my little sister the other day. It's a matter of what your drug is, right? If you looked at what a person's drug is, so for instance, Smith said football, reading, the gym, this, that, and the other, and everybody has their hook. It's just a matter of how it affects them. Majority of Americans, their biggest drug is fucking entertainment. All right? The entertainment field makes more money than anything in America. Check out motherfuckers in Hollywood. All right? Like the football, sports, we dump money on entertainment to escape our reality. We imagine ourselves as that football player going to score a touchdown. We imagine ourselves as the movie star in a movie, this, that, and the other. We spend so much money on entertainment. That is America's biggest drug. So it's not much different than using, your hardcore drug or alcohol. It's just the fact of, less people are dying from it. But the whole thing is everyone's addicted to something.
Yeah. Henry?
I got a question about they legalized it, but did they make it more easily accessible to buy?
So here's the thing. In San Francisco, and I should have probably said it, they did not legalize hardcore drugs. What they did was they weren't enforcing criminalizing hardcore drugs. Like on the book, you can still get arrested for having these drugs, but they didn't. But the officers there was happening when I looked several articles deep into like what's happening in San Francisco. San Francisco has been having an epidemic of some sort in regards of seeing people being drug addicted fiends out here. So, and it was too overbearing for police officers to deal with. So what they did was like, look, we don't want to necessarily have police officers have to deal with people who are addicted, strung out in alleyways when there's other crimes happening in the city. So they took a very hands-off approach. But they are working on a bill, and I forget the proposition bill. They are working on a bill to replicate California, the state that is, to replicate what Oregon is doing.
Yeah, well, that's right, because Oregon is close to California.
Yeah.
Well, all it comes down to, like I think it was Schubert or Smith, addiction is a virus. COVID is a virus. It just them drugs feel a lot better than COVID. That's why you got more people dying of drugs than COVID. It's the story.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things that I think it's fascinating because I think drug addiction doesn't get enough attention. And then like Smith said, man, like these drugs, it'd be one thing if you're talking about cannabis, I have no problems with that. But these drugs are not natural drugs. These are chemical made drugs, and unfortunately you got people.
Some of them are probably made to make it that much easier for you to be addicted to.
Exactly.
Much like food.
Yeah.
A lot of foods have a lot of sugar added to it to make it more addictive for you to want that food and crave that food.
What's the focus now where like you look at whatever the early 1950s or even late 1900s where they were trying to crack down on drugs. Like what's the new focus now where the government is like, okay, we got to crack down on this.
I don't think they have a vision because it sounds as though they just don't want to clog up the jail system for people with addiction. But to Smith's point, you don't have the social workers and the institutions in place to really create a rehab. Matter of fact, I think in Oregon, they're trying to build up like a shooting center, like a center where you could just go freely and shoot up like safely. And I'm like, in my mind, that's crazy to me.
I don't think that
but Cash, with that though, remember New York did that shit. They was giving out the needles. Yeah, New York was giving out the needles and they were allowing them to shoot up. And what happened was the needles started ending up in the parks and the little kids were finding the needles. You know what I mean? So New York allowed that to happen also. Like,
I didn't know that history, bro.
Yo, find that shit. America is crazy as hell where I'm going to allow you to do the drugs because I don't know how to help you to get off the drugs, And what I was going to say, to back what Shuba was saying, like at the end of the day, you already know that it's horrendous because it's big business, man. Like people got to be strung out on something in order to keep this money going in. Like I was just looking at the whole thing with the opioid crisis, and I forget the name of the family. I want to say the Merck family, but I don't quote me on that. Where they intentionally put out this drug, knowing that it had addictive shit in it, and got people. That's why the opioid shit got really big. And the family only had to pay $200 million. That shit was only 2% of their net their gross, their family wealth. $200 million to all these motherfuckers that didn't die to opioid. Y'all got motherfuckers strung out on this shit. At the end of the day, I was also listening to this thing, One More Jew, right? And they were talking about how the whites and the blacks had flipped, you know what I mean? Where it was the white kids that were going into their parents' medicine cabinet, not the black kids. We weren't doing the medicine cabinets and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And now the black kids, you know, through the hip hop somehow have gone into the medicine cabinet, you know what I mean? And now they're doing the harder drugs. And it's like, yo, at the end of the day, that pill popping shit, bro, that shit's different.
That Whoever talks really next got the last talking point. Henry, Shu, y'all got to flip for it.
Here's what I'm gonna say is the fact of like, there's no simple answer. If you let people be and they buy the drugs, this, that, and you arrest them, now you have the problem of financing them being in prison or in jail and this, that, and the other. If you give them, if you try to take them off the street and try to put them on programs, then you pick up the bill of the financing of them going through, you know, some sort of program to get them off the drugs and medical, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, you can only put but so much on the city or on the people or the country, the government, whatever, financially to support and recuperate these people. And it sounds cold and callous, like you know, economically, but that is the reality. You know, our budgets, as far as, you know, what we spend in taxes to pay for schools, to pay for policing, fire departments, you know, infrastructure, this, that, and the other, there's a limit to it. There is a limit to it. So possibly they're like, listen, this is costing us too much to lock them up. It's costing us too much to try to, you know, deal with their addiction. Maybe we should just legalize it. At least that way we have more money coming in than going out. Because obviously we can't seem to stop it altogether. You know, it's a hot mess. There's no matter what you do, whether you try to legalize it, make it illegal, give people help, figure a safer way, it's a mess. It's a mess. The reality is,
just don't do drugs, people. Just don't do drugs.
There you go.
All
right, there you go.
Hey,
no, that was it.
Wait, I got a quick question.
That was it. That was it.
Where that jersey?
He said last
thought. I want to know about this jersey.
Nah, yo, he said
that's his son jersey. That's his son jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was your
Nah, that's my son's first jersey.
I thought that was your Pop Warner jersey and shit. You just
Nah, that's my son's very first jersey when he was a baby.
All right, that's what it is.
All right, this bit of news has a combination of technology as well as this is still COVID related. And I tried to stay away from, but unfortunately it's here with us. You guys probably heard of the 2 new mutation that's happened out in the UK. Unfortunately, UK is going under another lockdown. So this came out. This is from the Daily Mail. Firms start to work on what they call freedom passports, documents that will allow people who have tested negative of COVID-19 COVID-free 19 to enter pubs, school, and workplaces. 2 firms awarded government contracts to explore work on a new app. The Department of Health said no decision has been made on introducing the app. The contract envisaged a system under which people are assigned a QR code. Thoughts? A freedom passport, y'all.
Well, if this is what
coming to a corner near you.
Coming to a corner near you.
They're making it optional, right?
No, it's not optional, bro. They're working on it. They're issuing a government contract to people to come up with this.
But you said, if I'm not, before I take all this in, you said that they have to be COVID free, right?
No, the passport. My bad. So the passport is essentially is going to determine whether or not you have tested negative for COVID or you have received the vaccination.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Or I received the vaccination, not just I test negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. My bad.
What does the test? How does the test of negatives save you though? Because you can test
positive. But the thing is, once you get everyone's going to be issued a QR code. And basically your QR code is going to have all of your health information.
Okay,
and
so is this something that's mandatory, or is it something that they're offering?
Bruh, this is going to be mandatory. They're not using the word offering, but this is going to be mandatory. It says, because here's the thing, dog. They said in order to enter schools, now this is out in the UK. This is to order to enter schools, pubs, and workplaces. How is that not mandatory?
Well, you could drink from home. Well, I mean the school part.
Yeah, school and workplaces. What
about the work part? What about the work
part? Yeah, school and workplaces.
What you talking about, Brad?
Oh, my bad. I thought you said when you saying entering schools. I mean
schools, workplaces, pubs, and probably other things.
Okay, so
the workplace in itself tries to put everybody in this box to where they're trying to still force people to get this vaccine. You're putting saying COVID-19 negative, you're putting that in there to make me feel comfortable. But at the end of the day, you want me to take this vaccine. That's what this whole passport is. They've already been talking about this coming to America, Henry. They've already been talking about this in order to get on airplanes and go and travel around. You know what I mean? The idea is to basically shoot everybody up with this, whatever this vaccine shit is that they got, that they just trying to give motherfuckers.
Well, I don't think that they're going to, if they do mandate it, I don't think that they're going to mandate it until it gets to the vaccine gets to the effectiveness of, let's just say, a flu shot, where you're not getting side effects or testing negative or whatever else.
But this flu shot has side effects, bro.
Exactly.
The flu shots currently have side effects.
Every vaccine has side effects.
Yeah, every vaccine has side effects.
What are you talking about?
To the point of, no, I'm not. Side effects to where, like, you take the flu shot and then you get, like, what?
Yo, bro, some people take the flu shot. I told you the story. I had a coworker who took the flu shot, and 2 weeks later, she had the flu.
That's not a side effect, Cash.
Bro, but you're getting injected with a dead strain of the flu.
Yeah.
That's a side. Like, if you're trying to
That's
take,
not a side effect, Cash. The whole thing is
no. The headaches.
Here's a side of two things. Two things you need to understand about how side effects work. There's two types of poisonings. There's intoxication and poisoning. All right. So the whole thing is, when you have something that intoxicates you, it hits you within the first 12 to 24 hours. You know, when you have something that poisons you, it hits you within the first 24 to 72 hours. Okay. That's how the CDC works, and how, like, you know, how long you get, you know, whether you can tell something like, you're not used to talk about food poisoning, or then there's food intoxication. You
Correct.
know, so the whole thing is same thing with side effects. Side effects do not work like 2-3 weeks later. Now you got the flu. And here's the thing with the flu shot. The flu shot may be, okay, we're giving you a flu shot for flu number 317. Does not protect you from 316, 318, 319. So it's not a side effect. It's just that the flu is constantly evolving.
But you could have side effects in a sense of, it could also trigger other bacteria that could compromise with your immune system. Like, for instance, there's just this doctor now this morning, I was watching it, a doctor out of, I believe, in Massachusetts. He suffered a severe allergic reaction to the Moderna vaccination shot. Like
Okay, that is true. But here's the reality, right?
Uh-huh.
The question is, how many cases do you get? If I give you 100 people and 3 people are allergic to peanuts, does that mean 97 other people should not eat peanuts?
No, I'm not talking about the effectiveness. The shit could be effective.
You're talking about the side effect.
I'm talking about the side effect.
If the side effect hits 3% of the population,
no one knows that.
Should the other 97?
That's what I'm saying.
The statistics do show how much. Here's the two things about it, right? You ever watch one of those commercials where they're like, yeah, try our new special drug.
Dude, there's a pharmaceutical drug like every other commercial slot.
And then they give you at the end of it 72 different, side effects, right?
Yeah.
The reality is that the law says that even if they get one case out of 1,000 that says, I got diarrhea, they got to put it on the label.
Yeah.
If they get one case out of 1,000 that says, my nipple was itching, they gotta put it on the label.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that this idea, the effectiveness rate, is going to be something that we should aspire to, and I'm looking at it differently. All I'm saying is, back to this news headline, everyone's going to be mandated to some capacity.
This is why I asked the question, though. Hold on, Shu.
Okay, go ahead.
This is why I asked the question, because it's like, okay, they're going to mandate us to get it. What's the other alternative? So now they say, okay, we're not going to give you the QR code. We're not going to make you take the shot. What's the other alternative? We just go
You can't move around, Henry. That's the alternative.
Okay, so hold on.
You're sequestered to your house. You can't fucking go anywhere.
So let's just say, okay, you don't have to be sequestered. We already see what the alternative is like now and how people are acting now, right? How the cases are rising and people's doing whatever. They're trying to find a solution. So what is the other solution? What they're doing now is not working. So you say, oh man, they can't control us. They're going to control so-and-so. They're not controlling us now. And what's going on now is not working. So it's just turned into, okay, we'll just let everybody get, the only other alternative is let everybody get sick. Whoever survives, survives. And whoever doesn't. Like, what is your alternative to, okay, we're not going to make them do this. What's the other alternative?
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you, though, Henry. The thing is, they're going to make you do it by limiting your fucking movement.
And I'm saying, what's wrong with that?
Well, let me ask this question, gentlemen.
Hold on. Let Smith finish the point.
Let me say this. At some point, you're going to get tired of not being able to travel where you want to go. And if you don't have that freedom passport, you can't go nowhere.
Smith, I'm agreeing.
That's going to have an effect on you at some point. Trust me, it will.
So what I'm saying is, and I agree, I hear what you're saying, but now what I'm saying is, okay, you scratch the freedom passport, you tell everybody you can just continue doing what you're doing now. That's the other alternative? Because
No, Henry, you're not listening. You can't go anywhere. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Smith,
you're not going to the supermarket.
Smith, you're not listening to what he's saying.
He's asking an alternative solution, and I think.
So Smith, what's the other alternative? Right now, we can't.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, though. The alternative is if you don't take this, you can't go no fucking where.
Smith.
That is the alternative.
You're not listening, Smith. He's saying, all right, what is your solution? If you don't do
solution?
Let's say they take that off the table. What is your solution?
Yes. What are you saying to do instead? I'm saying that I like this idea. So you got whoever doesn't, what's the alternative? Like, that's what I'm saying.
Whoever doesn't like the idea of getting the vaccine shot.
What's your idea? What's your solution?
What's the idea? What should we do?
This is my alternative. This is what I'm trying to tell you. That person who's choosing not to assimilate can't do shit. You can't go to the bowling. You're not listening. You can't do nothing.
Okay.
There is no alternative.
Let's try this one more time.
So hold on. Let me go with Smith. So Smith's saying, like, okay.
You can't go to the liquor store. You can't go to the liquor store. You can't go to the supermarket. You can't go to CVS. You can't go to Walgreens. You can't go bowling. You can't go to the strip club.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe in herd immunity, Smith?
Smith, are you okay with that?
You said, am I okay with it?
Yes.
Bro, listen here. I will get the fake freedom passport, bro.
Okay, so your alternative is to get the fake freedom passport.
Oh, you're just trying to see if I'm getting a vaccine? No, Henry,
no,
I'm not going to get a vaccine.
I'm trying to see what the other. I'm trying to see if you don't agree.
Oh, you talking about for me? You said what's the alternative for me?
No, for the what would be your suggestions for the society?
Like I'm gonna keep honest. Listen,
all right. Hold up. Smith,
we black, and black people always get taken and moved somehow. We make it happen somehow.
Smith, take the vaccine off of the board. Take the passport off of the board. Okay. We are in the situation that we are in now. What do you suggest we do? No vaccine, no passes. What do we do?
Well, as far as
how do we deal with COVID as is?
We wear a fucking mask and we fucking social distance.
Okay.
For eternity.
No, you didn't have to do it for eternity. All you had to do it for 3 fucking months. All you got to do is be consistent for 3 months, and we would have been done with this shit.
But Smith, we've had, 8 months now? How well has that worked out?
It's
Right.
not
First of
working.
all,
How well has that
no,
worked?
no. To
How
Smith's
well
point,
has
he's
that
talking
worked
about from a
out?
Let me say
consistent.
this.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I said consistent.
Consistently.
Everyone. We never did that. We never had everyone wear a mask consistently. We never did that in America. We never did that.
So Smith,
But you know what? Hold up. Time out.
We never did it.
Time out.
We never did it.
But how would you suggest that happens without some sort of
Right.
mandatory law?
I would suggest. Look, I'm telling you what I would
without
suggest.
making people do it.
If everybody would have shut down for 3 months and wore this fucking mask, we would have been out of this shit already, bro. I believe that.
But so once again, you're going right back to the government making it mandatory.
No.
Hold on. Let me chime in for Smith real quick.
Controlling your behavior.
I didn't say control no behavior. All I said is
you have to. That's what you're
saying.
No,
Shub. You said what should we do as people? As people, not the government. All we had to do was wear a fucking mask.
No, we said what's your solution. We said what's your solution. And you're saying to have everybody wear masks, but everybody.
No, that's not what I said. I already told you what my solution was.
We said what's your solution. You said wear masks and social distance.
All right, can I say this?
Oh, yeah,
I think.
Hold on, let Bradley say something. Let Bradley Let Bradley say something.
I would say this. I see where Smith is going with this. What you're doing, you want everyone to wear a mask and social distance, and I'm with that. I think what Smith is really saying is like, look, he's not down with this vaccination shit. And this is what ultimately what this passport is kind of indicating, that, look, you are not able to freely go anywhere without proof of a vaccination. And I think anything that basically have you injecting something into your body is something that he's opposed to.
That's
like,
agreed.
The social distancing and mask wearing, I think everyone could be on board with that. Well, unfortunately, not everyone's on board with that. But the idea of having a freedom passport to indicate that you've taken a vaccination, that's troublesome. That is troublesome.
Hey, Cash, that's slave papers.
Yeah, that's troublesome.
Okay,
that's how
can I chime in now?
Around.
Yeah.
You have to have a passport. A slave has to have a passport in order to fucking walk somewhere.
Then how do we get people?
Actually have to pull this out and show them.
Can I chime in now?
Go ahead, Black Zeus.
So here's the thing. Can I just walk up in any one of your house, throw my feet up on your bed, and lay back and watch TV?
How much you paying me? I'll let you do that for a good $500.
I'm glad you said that, right? I'm glad you said that. You just admitted in order for that to happen, there's a cost, right?
Yeah.
Because guess what? That is, your home is not my property.
Yeah.
I have no rights to it. I have no entitlement to it. Your car is not my property. I have no rights, no entitlement to it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't own a plane. Pan Am does. American Airlines does. They're all private companies that own those planes. You have no right, no ownership, no entitlement to ride their planes. So if they say you can't get on my fucking plane without taking a vaccine, what the fuck are you going to say? It's not your plane. So it's
right.
not a right or entitlement to fly or travel, this, that, and the other. The only right entitlement you have is to move about outside of your home, to walk the streets, to this, that, and the other. But, private industry, private companies, private homes, private, things are not entitled to you. As far as the public aspect, when you're talking about a public building, a school, such and such, when you are a living part of a society and society has rules and indications, you're not going to agree to all of those rules and rights and this, that, and the other. But these are things that we as a gregarious society, that if we're going to interact with one another and we're going to live once amongst another, that means the fact of you can't be any possible form of threat towards me, whether it means physical, ailment, verbal abuse, so forth and so on. These are the rules of society. You can freely stay within the bounds of your home, the bounds of your property. You can walk up and down the street and not interact with anyone and have complete freedom on that. But the minute that you have to share a space with someone, whether it be a space that is a public space or a private space, there are rules and there's boundaries within that. And you can't be mad at somebody that says, listen, I'm not taking a chance of getting sick. If you want to be sick, that's fine. You don't want to take a vaccine, that's fine. But don't subject me to it, because the fact that we know that there's no way to tell whether someone has COVID or not. They could be walking around perfectly fine and normal and free, this, that, and the other. So the whole thing is, it's like, it's not impeding on your freedom to do what you want to do for you. You just can't do it within somebody else's plane, somebody else's building, someone else's, it's not yours. You're not entitled to it.
Yeah.
So you have to keep that in mind.
And you're also going to have some people who, okay, you say we have to wear a mask and socially distance. So now the government comes up with, you're going to get a fine or you're going to do jail time if you don't do it. There has to be some type of consequence. You're going to have a whole bunch of people who don't agree with that too. So at some point, we're going to be forced to do something, because we've already tried the voluntary way and people are not doing it. Smith, I agree. I would much rather do the way that you're saying, where it's like, I felt like, look, people should have had money saved up. They made us all quarantine for 2 months, however long, and then we'd be good. But that's not the reality.
Hey, Ray,
and people didn't do it.
But listen, people didn't do it because of the people who were in charge of these people. Governors didn't say you should do this. The states where the governor said you should do this, guess what? The majority of the people did this shit. The states where the governor said, no, fuck that mad shit. They didn't fucking do it. And
okay, so in Newark,
and all I'm saying is
Newark,
that
Ross told people to wear masks, and guess what they did? They
still had parties.
Yeah, they did.
All right, they still
had parties.
Right. Listen. Wearing a mask and having a party, two different things. One, I'm just saying
social distancing.
Listen, all I'm saying, listen, y'all asked me my opinion, and I'm saying that Americans as a whole would have worn masks and social distance for 3 months. We would have been out of this shit, bro.
Agreed, but they didn't do it, so now we have to be.
Oh no, I know that. I know that they didn't do it. I'm telling you, that's what would have happened though. And we know we're not going back. People are not going to wear masks. Motherfuckers are setting bombs off because they got to wear masks in Nashville, Tennessee. I thought that was going to be Cash's story, but anyway, you know what I mean?
It wasn't enough information. It was a mysterious bombing, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I saw it too, but I was just like,
I've been digging, Cash. I got some info. I've been digging.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
all right, last words. Y'all go for it. Whoever wants the last word. Go ahead, Henry. Last word.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I feel like America as a whole has given enough information as far as social distancing and wearing masks. People are choosing not to do it. And the people who are choosing not to do it, not the ones who, tried and accidentally got sick, but the people who just disregarding it, they're the reasons why now we're about to be forced to do this QR code, a vaccine, or anything else along the lines.
Correct. It's only in the UK. I'm just saying it's coming to a corner. Yeah, it's coming. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, fellas, on to the book. I hope you guys enjoyed the book. We're wrapping it up. We have, a few questions this week. And let's start with Henry's. Would risky, unmanaged play work in the hood?
This is basically what they just said, with recess in schools. And I think that there was one school in some place they mentioned where they're
Utah?
where they're actually practicing this, where they do unsupervised recess so that kids can have their own issues and solve them on their own.
I think kids in the hood already practice unsafe play anyway. Like, no one supervises these kids anyway. So, I to be honest, and this kind of ties in with my question. Really, I'm just gonna tie it in. It's just like, are some of the problems created by overbearing parents a class issue?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know class. You know what? To be honest, man, I don't really know how. And I'm not saying they do act the same or they don't, but I don't know how lower class, white, Spanish, Asian people act as far as like in their school setting. So like you think about, when I think about unsupervised play in certain spots in the hood, or even unsupervised students, there's always a chance that kids could be fighting, having sex over by the tree or doing whatever. I don't know if that's just limited to the black kids in the inner cities.
Go ahead, Shu. I saw you raise your hand.
I'm not saying they are or aren't. I'm just being honest. I just don't know. I know just from an educator, I'll just wrap this up with this. As an educator, I've always been taught that you leave a kid unsupervised, and something happens, you're losing your license. Your kids need to be supervised.
So yeah, I don't think it. Oh, go ahead, my bad.
So the two questions actually bounce off of each other. So as far as the hood, right? I don't think it's so much of the hood as far as a class issue. It's more of a mentality. Mm-hmm. So if you grew up in a typical Black American home in the hood, your parents, listen, it was like either they sit you in front of TV or they let you go outside and play with your friends. Those are their options. And the whole thing was like, if they were okay with you watching TV, you sat and watched TV. The other option was go outside and play with your friends. And they didn't have time to sit here and like babysit you or watch you and this, that. So they just let you play. We all ran up and down the block, played, catch a girl, kiss a girl, this, that, whatever the case may be. Now, if you grew up in a West Indian home, West Indians are very strict about keeping their kids in check. Very strict about keeping their kids in check. There's no like going over and sleeping at your friend's house. There was no, being out all day till the street lights came on. It was like, you got 1 hour, to go outside. Now, were they trying to be helicopter moms and dad? No. They were like, you don't see in the news, they killed that boy and this, that, and the other. And that's how they react to it. Just because their mindset is completely different. It's just a mindset thing. As far as the question that Cash was asking, I don't think it's exactly the same, because when they're referring in the book about the different classes, about those parents, and I see it being the fact of where I live now and being in, I guess, my economic class now, where when I was a kid, we walked to school, and there's a lot of kids in, let's say, Bloomfield, Newark, East Orange, Irvington, still walking to school, because guess what? That's the option that they got. While over here where I live in Verona, there's not one kid walking to school. There's the car line.
Yes.
In front of every school, where the kid has a specific, you can't drop off your kid 20 feet from the drop-off spot. You have to pull all the way through the car line and drop off your kid exactly at the designated area. Okay? Yeah. And that is a class thing, because the fact of all the parents have that luxury, all right, around here. Whether it's the fact of A, stay-at-home mom, or B, hey, I don't have to be at the office till 9. I have enough time to drop off my kid. Or C, the fact of reality, the community around here, at least, I see works together. It's like, hey, Gary, could you pick up my kid and drop him off at school, or pick him up from school, whatever, this, that, while you're picking up your kid, this, that, and the other. And I do see that as a class thing, where it's like they're in a different position or a situation where they're allowed to have that option, versus like in the hood, 9 out of 10 of those moms is catching the bus to go to work. They ain't got time to drop you off at school. You better, hightail it up the street, do what you got to do.
Yeah. Smith?
Pardon me. I was going to text. Hey, you said risky behavior, and what's risky behavior?
Smith, you better pay attention to my goddamn questions.
No. What's risky behavior?
He wasn't talking about risky behavior. He was talking about playing.
Unmanaged play.
Yes.
Unmanaged
kids
play.
Being unsupervised while playing.
So Smith,
what's risky, but it was risky, unmanaged play. So I'm saying what is risky is my question.
Risky is two kids that maybe start up a fight between the two of them, because they both want to go down the slide at the same time. No, it's my turn. And not having an adult come and, manage the dispute. Instead, the kids got to manage the dispute.
That don't seem, okay, two things. One, let me go. That don't seem risky to me, one. That just seems like fucking kids being kids.
That's the whole point of the book, though, Smith.
Wait. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish. I wasn't done. I don't think that's considered risky, and I want to hit the risky in the class, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm saying the risky part, because risky behavior, you said unmanaged risky behavior in the hood. Now, I had a lot of this unmanaged risky behavior in the hood. That's how I ended up fucking shot at 14. You understand? That's why I wanted to know what was the risky part. Now, I was on my way to go play fucking baseball. Was that fucking risky? When I got shot, I was going to go play baseball with my friends. I had a fucking bat and ball and gloves and shit.
Well, no, Smith.
So I'm just trying to put a connotation.
All right, here's the connotation. We start
attacking the hood. When we start attacking the hood, it does feel personal in one respect, because although I am of the hood and from the hood, I don't aspire to be that anymore. You understand? So that risky part in the class. Now, this is what I'm going to say with this class part, because I think the class part is definitely just a parental thing. And now, and hear me when I say this. The class part is cool, and it sounds cool on paper. But listen to this. This lady pays $18 a month for rent, right? And she lives in the hood. Just because she lives in the hood doesn't mean that she doesn't want better. Her house is clean as shit, but she lives and she has to wade through, walk over, trash. In her hallway, there's trash. She tries to keep it clean, but her neighbors aren't like that. So that class part is different, because there are people, just because I'm on a lower economic status doesn't mean that I have less class.
No,
Smith, the questions aren't like that, because I think Schuber gave a great analogy in regards of what it, according to the book, because even because there was a case where you had a mother who was arrested because she let her child play at a playground unsupervised. By himself. They consider that risky. That's what I think.
But listen. The book was also talking about taking away the risk. Look, this is what the book said too, from what I got. If kids don't play to know what risks are, as they get older, they don't know what risks they are willing to take and shit. That's what I got.
I know, but that's where my question comes in. My question comes in, where I feel like from a class perspective, the kids that are from lower economics income households, they tend to know how to take better risk in life, because they are basically unsupervised, whether by choice or not, to explore and take the risk and understand what the consequences are. And I think what Kelvin's question is, in regards of unmanaged risk, and then Kelvin, you could chime in and inject and say I'm completely wrong in your assessment, but I think he's just saying, like, in the hood does unrisky. I think personally, I think kids in the hood do manage to play in unrisky behavior, and it's healthy. Some of it is healthy. What Schubert was saying is, like, having that conflict at the playground where those two kids have to settle it out by themselves without a parent being overbearing and injecting and trying to settle it out between Timmy and Johnny and stuff. You can come and correct me if I'm wrong in that too.
I mean, here's the thing, Smith, is the fact of, and like I said, I've seen from both perspectives. Me growing up in the hood, I remember my mom sending me to the corner, not to the corner store, but to the supermarket to get something, this, that, and the other. And I didn't think nothing of it. The first few times I went, I'd go to the store, pick up something, come back. There was a couple times, and this is way back in the early 90s, 80s, whatever, this, that, and the other, where, somebody would see me as a target and come, I was young and I was small, and they would see me as a target, and they'd, come up to me like, yo, run your pockets.
That's a right? Line. You ain't never been young and small.
And the whole thing is, it's like two things happen. That happened to me more than once. So the whole thing, there's two things I had to learn from that experience is A, how to spot out trouble way far down the block before I get there. And then B, I had to learn how to fight. Yeah. Because of that scenario.
And you talk about this with your own son, how you said that you're having that battle with Tyler in regards of giving him that risk exposure because you feel like he's not getting that now.
Exactly. Because my son runs around like nothing can ever go wrong because he's never had that experience. He's never had any type of, type of real hardship. Exactly. So because of that, my son's going to end up softer than I ever was. I didn't have a choice. I had to toughen up. I mean, if I threw his ass into the hood right now, he wouldn't know what the fuck to do. All right. Like I got kids that I work with that are from the hood that would eat my son alive. I mean, now granted, at the same token, when it comes to real talk, education level, my son would kill them. On a scholastic level. So it's like the class issue is an issue because what the whole thing is that when you're in the hood, the biggest skill you need to learn is survival skills. That's what comes to the forefront. You need to know how to make $20 last a week. You need to know how to spot out trouble before you get there. Away. Like exactly. You need to be able to put on that hood grill face to people not see you as a target or a possible victim.
Just to
go ahead, Henry.
I'm gonna let you go back though, Shu. Even when you think about the whole idea of survival skills, just a simple idea of I'm getting on a bus and traveling to work or to school on my own. Like
Max.
Because I was doing that shit at 8.
Exactly. Because guess what?
Henry, you've been muted. Henry, your connection went out.
The reality is it wasn't an option. It was how it was done. Yeah. Versus like if you're in upper class, in an upper class, this, that, and the other, go to Montclair, go to Verona, go to Livingston during rush hour. Tell me how many kids you see walking the streets. You won't see it.
Well,
but if you pull up in front of a school, if you pull up in front of a school, you will see a car line as long as the block around the corner waiting.
But those tend not to be the latchkey kids. I was a latchkey kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Henry. Your signal was cutting off.
I know.
Latchkey kid is you got the key to the house because nobody home when you get on.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I remember
so that raises you. That definitely raises your level of
independence
really fast.
and that's true because the whole thing is I apply that where we were living before. It was a short walking distance. It was around a block for my son to walk to school. So I would have him walk to the school. And there were times, even if he was running late, I would let him cut through the woods, the backwoods, to get to the school even quicker. As long as it was like during daytime where I could see him and this, that, cut through the woods, X, Y, and Z, And the whole thing is, it's like, I don't see any of the kids walking to school on their own. I don't see any of them walking to school on their own. And the funny thing is, one day, the crossing guard saw that my son wasn't with an adult, and she took him back to the school. And school called me like, "Yo, like, you on your way to pick up your son?" Because he was trying to walk to school. I'm like, yeah, we live around the corner. He can walk to school. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You're gonna have to fill out a form for that. Fill out a form for my kid to walk to school or walk home by himself? I actually had to do that. I had to fill out a form in order for my son to walk a block home from school.
You're like, what kind of dad are you? We don't have that in this neighborhood.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Henry.
That's just, a lot of that is just liability. Because if the kid is leaving school, doesn't have your permission, something happens to him, that's the school.
When did that turning point happen, though?
Exactly, Henry.
So, like, I'm gonna give you another example. They even say, and Smith, you know this, with the after school program, if a kid is supposed to be in your program and that kid is like marked absent, present, and then like they leave early before the time that the program's supposed to be over, if something happens to that kid, bro, that's on the school. I don't know.
Yeah, but that is different between, you saying there's a program, the kid's supposed to be there, they're marked in. During those hours, that kid is absolutely your responsibility. But when if the kid's not in the after school program, he goes to school. School's from 8 to 3. 3 o'clock, school's dismissed. School's dismissed.
It's dismissed, but the child is still a school's responsibility.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
That's the bullshit.
And that is exactly. That is the bullshit.
Dismissed. And they should have just mind their fucking business and let them walk the fuck home.
Exactly.
That's all that shit was. They was being nosy as hell. Man, let my son walk. Would you let him walk home? He's trying to build up his calves. God damn, he live around the corner. Let him walk. Shit.
Yeah, it's like literally, it's around the corner, my dude. It's not even a quarter mile. Like, are you serious?
Yo, they was about to call child services on your ass, bro. You better be careful.
You know what? They really made Schubert fill that form out because of his checkered past with the school.
Oh, yeah, that's the other part. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You couldn't even go into school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But but to the point, man, like I found that you like when I saw that question that Kelvin had, like, and it prompt, kind of tied in with my question. I thought the overbearing parents to be really a transcendent mainstream issue thing. And to be honest, I like my experience. I like the fact that I grew up in the hood and, like Schubert said, understanding survival awareness, understanding my surroundings, understanding, who to mess with, what street not to go down, having risky play, whatever that is. I like the fact that I was able to play, football for 5 hours out the day with a bunch of my friends and nobody gave a shit. And it was dark as hell, but you can't have that today. So it's just, it's unfortunate, man.
No, you can't have it today.
Hey, Cass, I'm glad you hit that point because I want to talk about that football player with your friend for 5 hours and nobody gave a shit.
Nobody gave a shit.
You just went out there and played. Motherfuckers break your arms and legs. You wrap your arm up and you walk your ass home.
Exactly.
So, but the book even said that that the crime rate is lower today than it was however long ago. So it should be safe enough for kids to go out and still do X, Y, and Z.
Well, and that ties into my next question, which is, are the issues currently interesting solutions presented in the conclusion is the elimination of tribalism? Is the idea of race and culture erasure a practical solution? Because Jonathan Haidt, and he basically said that, and I think he used, I forget which philosopher he used, but the idea that people latch onto their identity of race. He didn't say race, but it kind of is implied. It was implied, but race and culture is what constantly generate and stir these issues, and that we should no longer be in these tribal settings, and we should just see each other as one massive human race. So is that a practical solution? No. Go ahead, Henry.
No.
Okay.
Well, no, I won't say it's not practical. It's just not realistic.
Okay.
Am I just not going to see race in that one instance when it comes to coddling? Or
that's what I think his vision is to eliminate race so that we don't have these sort of conflicts in our society.
Eliminating race would solve so many different problems. It's not happening. It's practical. It's not realistic.
Yeah.
I got a question, Henry. I could just eliminate race. I don't eliminate religion.
That's true.
Here's my thing, right? I think
I wanted to answer this too.
I think we're looking at it the wrong perspective. There's two race, right? Or two ways to look at race. One way is to say, Shub, the big black guy, because guess what? If you don't know who the person's looking at, or if you don't have a picture of them, that's what you're going to do. You're going to identify them by their gender, their race, their size, their aesthetics, their visual aesthetics. So there's that. So we can never get rid of that. That's not going to happen as far as like when we are descriptive. But when we talk about race, getting rid of race, meaning the fact of when we identify things with a race, such as, the dude with the bad credit, he lives down in the projects, he got like 3 baby mamas, and automatically the first thing pop in your mind, black guy. You don't think Japanese guy. You don't think, Guatemalan guy. You think black guy. Mm-hmm. That is what they're trying. That is the type of race that I think he's referring to of getting rid of. When your mentality goes to, if you're black, you are identified by this. If you're white, you're identified by that. If you're Japanese or Asian or Spanish or whatever the case is, you're identified by that thing. And it's not a reality, because we know plenty of successful, rich black guys who don't have any baby mamas. And there are poor white guys, believe it or not, because I know white Mike that I grew up with, living in the hood, who, you know, had baby mamas, and his mama was a single, you know,
single mom
with 4 boys, you know, by I think 2 or 3 different baby daddies. So, but if I told you about white Mike, you're probably like, nah, that doesn't exist, because that's not what your mind has been conditioned to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, would it be practical to get rid of that race? That race, yes, it would be practical. Is it idealistic? Kind of, only because we've come so far with it. It might be hard to erase.
And that's where I was kind of leaning towards with the question, because I'm like, it came across as such an idealistic idea to eliminate tribalism based on our race and culture that I was just like, this sounds nice, but, you know, there's something to admire about race and culture too. Like, I don't want this sort of bland way of looking at everyone. You know, I like
identity.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want this sort of bland identity. And so what if someone take offense to culture? Like, some people might not like hip hop, but some people might not like culture. But like, those are the things that I think that makes every tribe unique, is their culture. And his idea that he wants to have more of a bland identity, thanks, Smith, is, I don't know. It's just, I kind of saw issues with that too.
Yeah, I think Shu hit that right on the head though, with the 2 different kinds of how you're looking at race.
Correct.
And I think the latter is the one that we could probably tackle. The other one is, yeah, like you said, that shit is too ingrained in people right now. And until we go back to about what, like 7 podcasts ago, when we talk about making all the babies mix, until we get there, until we mix all the babies, like, yeah, that ain't happening.
But there's a uniqueness to these different cultures, and I don't know, man. It's just like,
no, you should have your own culture. You need to have your own.
There's
culture.
nothing.
I don't think identity. Like,
so here's the thing.
You have your own identity.
I don't think there's anything wrong with culture. Obviously, like, culture is it could be anything, like you said. It could be hip hop. It could be a music culture. It could be a clothing culture. It could be a neighborhood. Whatever the case may be. But the whole thing is that, you know, remember you was talking about the one kid and the black kid in Montclair who said he's never experienced racism. He'd never experienced, you know, being poor or being in a rough neighborhood. Yeah. And that's the thing, is the fact of, when we start tribalizing and saying, okay, being black is being poor, being black, like as if it's just the black experience. Yeah. Like, are there those of us that are black that are from the hood that are poor? Yeah. I had that experience. Yeah. Y'all had that experience. My son has no fucking clue of that experience. Does that make him any more or less black?
Yeah.
No,
obviously. Black shouldn't denote jail. Black shouldn't denote baby daddy. Black shouldn't denote unwed mother. Black shouldn't denote credit score. Black shouldn't denote poverty.
And black should not denote, you know, where we stand on issues. So, for instance, if one person looks at the Mike Brown incident, right? Let's say you didn't know the background of Mike Brown, with him having a government job before, and then he getting stopped by the cop because he was sitting in his car, you know, prior, that messed up his life. Let's look at it just from the perspective of, if I remember when I first saw it, the dude robbed a store, and then he, you know, a cop tried to stop him, and he went after the cop. He hooked off on the cop, and he got shot. And everybody's like, oh, he didn't have to shoot him, this, that. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? You can't just be going off, hooking off on cops after you are guilty of robbing a store, this, that, and the other. I'm not justifying his actions whatsoever. Like, he was wrong, regardless of whether he was black, white, whatever. As a black man, I'm not going to side with him just because he's black. And the whole thing is, black people, or any color of people, need to not have that tribalism to the point where they're like, well, we're just going to give him a pass on a pass that we wouldn't give to anybody else because of their race.
Where you're coming from.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if he was a white guy, you would have said he was wrong. If he was an Asian guy, you would have said he was wrong. But because he's a black guy, because of that tribalism mentality, you're like, oh, they didn't have to shoot him, and now your mentality is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The dude with the knife, let's say, the retarded, or the guy that was coming after the cops with the knife, and they shot like 13 times and hit him twice. God damn, that's bad shooting.
So tribalism allows fuckery to happen within the tribe because you're trying to protect your tribe.
Because you're trying to protect your tribe, even when your tribe is in the wrong.
Even when your tribe is, I was about to say, even when your tribe is in the wrong. There you go, Shu.
And the problem with that, here's the problem with that. It's the same way with cops. If cops protect dirty cops, we look at all cops as dirty, right? But if they said, nah, that dude, he fucked up, then we have respect for the cops. Because they'll at least admit they had a fucked up dude in their tribe, and they're willing to do the right thing. Same thing with our tribe. I just think
tribalism has always been ingrained in us. Like, we've always formed tribes. I just think that I don't think there's no way of eliminating tribes. I think tribes will always manifest in some capacity because we just like to form cliques.
Yeah, we like cliques.
I mean, when we were reading, talking to a stranger, right? They said, Malcolm said in the beginning, when you went to get in war against a neighboring tribe, y'all had the same type of traditions. Y'all had the same type of understandings. So you might be part of the Navajo tribe and the other one was part of the Cherokee tribe, but y'all both were Native Americans and y'all both had certain understandings and this, that, and the other, or certain beliefs, this, that, and the other. The problem in America is that we're not talking about Navajo and Cherokee now. We're talking about black, white, immigrant, Asian, this, that, and the other. And all these different tribes have no understanding of the different nuances within each other's tribes. And that makes it even worse. It makes you just want to stick to your tribe even more because you have absolutely no understanding of the other tribe.
Yeah, that's why I said you have to hit that religion on, because religion will form the tribe. You know, from my religious belief, I'm going to form this tribe. So yeah, you're always going to have a tribe because you're going to have a tribe based off beliefs. I believe what you believe, so let's form this group. Cool.
Yep. Yeah, people are quick. You know people are quick to say, "I'm a proud Christian."
Yeah.
You know?
Think about it. Remember, we're mammals, man, and animals go in tribes. Animals do tribes and herds and migrate and all that.
Packs.
Shit.
Yeah.
So we want to be a pack too. Goddamn.
Yeah, I just felt like Jonathan Haidt, to present that as a solution, was like not practical. I felt like he should have stuck with practical solutions. And that
was idealistic.
Yeah, and that was way too idealistic when you're talking about trying to shy away from coddlism and all the issues that come with it. All right, next question.
Yeah, that shit sound like it could be an interesting movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, next question. This is a Henry's question. Once the child is born, should morals and values of how to raise children be changed as needed?
Once the child is born, should morals and values
of how to raise children be changed as needed?
Yes.
Yeah. Next question. Yes.
Well, I mean,
no further elaboration. Y'all just gonna do my boy Henry's question like that?
But seriously,
the question on it. Listen, the question answers it.
I'm gonna say this: me and Smith both have kids, right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing is, and I laugh because I think of my little sister who, you know, she has all these ideas in her head of how she's raising her kid and what he's gonna be and all of this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, oh, you think that's how it works? Yeah, okay. That, like, no. Whole thing is, kids are constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. Society around them is constantly evolving, and everybody, and your kids have different personalities. Especially if you got multiple kids like Smith, you're gonna know that you could try to cookie cutter all your kids, not gonna work. It's not going to work. The reality is you have to adapt and be willing to change your way of thought or the way you go about things with each kid as life goes on. You can't have this hard line cookie cutter of like, this is what I am. This is how I'm raising my kids. This is the mentality. This, that. You're going to fail that way.
All right, so let me ask the two parents.
Now,
on this panel
but I will wait. I'll say this though, Cash.
Okay.
There are certain values that will not change.
That was my question. I was going to say, is there a value
that will not change? There's a level of, when we talk about respect, there's certain things that will not change.
Okay.
That will always be.
Would you mind sharing what value that you feel like, regardless of what society or direction they're trying to go, that you feel like you are strong in that principle? Like that you want to instill into your kid? Is there anything that you see that society is doing that you're like, you know what? I don't care what society's doing. I want my kid to be this way.
Yeah, it ain't just a yes or no question.
Okay.
If you guys mind sharing, because that could be personal.
Right, I'm thinking about it.
So I've already thought about this before, right? So the whole thing is there's certain rules that we as a society say. So certain rules such as honesty is the best policy, and I teach my son to be as, honest and forthcoming, as possible. And I teach him to hold himself accountable for the decision he's making and whether it's good or bad, this, that, and the other. But the reality is, as my son gets older, I will let him know. Honesty is depending on the situation. There's nuance to it. Like if your wife says, baby, did I gain some weight? You better handle that with kid gloves. You don't go like, yeah, bitch, you done put on 10 pounds. Like, I see a little bit of muffin top coming in. No, you don't do that. You know what I mean?
Why not, bro? What the hell? If your wife is putting some pounds on, you better tell that that she put some pounds on.
Yeah, shoot. The myth of male power.
Exactly.
That is the myth of male power. Shit, I'm not pissing off the person who cooks for me. Goddamn it. No, but real talk though, I'm just using that as an example. The whole thing is that the reality is truth or honesty or whatever you want to call it is also very idealistic. It's not a reality. When you go on a job interview and you present yourself, you present the very best version of yourself that you could possibly be. Are you going to be that same person on day one as day 100 of the job or day 1000? Fuck no. It's not a reality, but you have to present that person, when you go on that job interview. The same thing when you go on a date. The same thing when you're first meeting people, because that impression means a lot. So the whole thing is you have to, fake it till you make it, as they say, or something like that. You know what I mean? And these are skills. These are social skills that we have accepted in our society that we don't acknowledge. The truth is, you could do whatever the fuck you want to do. You want to do some weird, crazy, nasty shit, be on internet porn, fine. Just don't let it come to the forefront.
And Napoleon Hill did in Outwitting the Devil. He had a fake it till you make it mentality. And it worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is there is no hard line. There's no hard line with when it comes to your I guess values, ethics, or how you want to raise your kid. You have to be willing to adapt, or willing to teach your kid like there is room for nuances in every rule.
Smith, is there any nuance?
But nuances and values, they're just I don't know. The nuances of the parties, they're a little different though, I think. Mine's is like, I'm trying to teach my kids the kindness and patience and integrity and gratitude and listening and being self-giving and having vision and shit. Those basic things like what you said with the honesty. But the values and the morals, them shits aren't going to change. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to say my values and my morals for my children aren't going to change even over time. How they're being raised will change, but being respectful, that shit's never changing. You know what I mean? Understanding that consequences that you make the choices you make results in the consequences you receive, that shit's never changing. So there are certain things that won't ever change because they'll hear me say this shit. You know what I mean? Because these are the values that I'm trying to instill. I just actually gave them some dog tag with some of these values on it and shit. But it's like those, like certain things, if I meet Schubert's kid, I never met his kid, and I meet his kid, and I'm like, yo, you know what? You're raising your son to be very respectful. You know what I mean? And I can tell that he has value. That shit is different. And you can see that in kids when, as an educator, you can see in kids when they have certain values, when they're being raised a certain way. And you can see in others when they're not being attended to as needed, so to speak. Yeah, but kids are like fucking clay, man, and you're constantly molding that shit and modeling that shit. You're constantly working with your hands to try to get this thing, but you don't, like Schubert said, my sister got this dumbass vision. Yeah, my kid's gonna be like this. Okay, good luck with that shit. That's like I just watched Wonder Woman yesterday. That's like fucking a fortune teller, like getting a wish. You get a wish and shit. You don't know what that kid is going to be. You can know what you want for the kid. You got a great vision for what you want your child to be, but to what you're going to end up, that end result, that final product, you don't know what that final product's going to be.
Yeah. It was funny because I was at the car dealership yesterday, and I was talking to the manager, and we were just talking because, once again, like I said, I tend to share what we are reading with anyone anytime I get the moment to share it with. And basically, the one thing he said that was interesting from a value perspective, that he said that he sees with other friends and their kids, that he said he doesn't do with his, is basically he doesn't allow his kids to negotiate. Like, there's no negotiating. Whereas now you see this form of parenting where kids are able to negotiate circumstances. And he's like, nah, I don't. He's like, that's something that's a hard line for me. Like, I don't. It's my house, my rules. There's no negotiation and stuff. So despite how society is now kind of weaving its way of like kids having a voice, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
bump that negotiation.
Honestly,
no, it's no negotiation, but that's where you go. That's where you go and stay at a friend's house, and you come back thinking that your house is like your friend's house.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You was at Timmy's house. You was at Timmy's house too long. You must have been staying with Cass too fucking long, bro. You don't do that shit here. Fuck you coming back with that bullshit.
So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. And I gotta say, from my own experiences, like, that is something that I'm trying to get my son to work on, is knowing how to negotiate, how to sway the argument your way, or how to sway someone to get what you want. Now, I have no problems with it. Here's the thing. In my household, I am the authority. I actually am the authority. And the whole thing is, I have no problem saying, hey, this is what it is. I need those dishes done. Okay, Dad, can I do it, in 15 minutes after I finish playing this game? All right, you better do it in 15 minutes after you finish playing the game, or you're not going to be playing the game for the next 3 days. You see what I'm saying? So there is a negotiation there. Is he going to do the dishes? Yes, he's going to do the dishes. He's going to do it within 15 minutes. I could be like, nah, nigga, I said do it right now. And all I'm teaching my child to do is follow authority without question. And you said how much of issues you have with following authority, such as getting a vaccine. All right. So the whole thing is, if you can teach your child how to negotiate and be like, listen, I'm not down for taking the vaccine, but I will take a COVID test to prove that I'm negative before I get on this plane. That is negotiating. And that is part of the reason why that you had that option, probably, with that whole freedom pass, is that you just had to prove that you were negative within 72 hours instead of taking the vaccine. You had that negotiation ability. And that's the thing. In corporate America, in real America, there's always negotiation. Whether you're in a court and you're talking to the judge about your freedom, you're negotiating.
So you're seeing, you're prepping your kid to how to negotiate at an early age, so that way when they come into like adulthood, it comes as second nature to them.
Exactly. And they learn to speak up for themselves.
Yeah.
All right. They learn to speak up for themselves. If you teach your child to follow authority without any question, you're just raising more of that drone mentality. Yeah. I'm not going to question why the cop told me to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to question why the principal is doing this, that, and the other, regardless. And this is how we had all the people that were having issues with the system where it was like you were being taken advantage of because you just followed without question.
Taking plea deals without necessarily, standing your ground and making an argument for yourself. Yeah,
a matter of fact.
Yeah, because no, look, I didn't have an opinion. It was just interesting that as we were discussing, and it just made me reflect on the sales manager saying like, as I was sharing him my book, he was just like, there's no negotiating in my house. So I just wanted to present that to you guys to see, like how do you guys handle, situations like that in regards of values?
Just to give you an example, in Malcolm Gladwell's, I want to say David and Goliath was the book. And there was two dudes. One dude, brilliant, fucking genius, right? Was going to, supposed to go to a prestigious college, this, that, and the other. And apparently there was some issue with his paperwork or whatever at the bursar's office. And dude did not have, as intelligent as he was, he did not have the skills to manage on how to get that shit pushed through. So he ended up dropping out of college and becoming like a bouncer or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Damn. While there was another dude who literally tried to kill his teacher. They caught this dude, conspiring to kill his teacher. And this dude negotiated his way out of that shit.
Fellas, let me just jump in and let y'all know.
It's 10:45.
So y'all got about 2 more minutes.
All right, let me go. The last question. Hopefully, we let Kelvin speak on it first.
Yes, let him speak, please.
I hear the irritation in your tone, Smith. All right. Should colleges and universities follow a more comprehensive study of issues before rolling out programs like Title IX and Dear Colleague letters?
What's the Dear Colleague letter?
So, like the Dear Colleague letter, from my understanding of when Jonathan Haidt, and actually Trump did like a reversal of it, was the university act as the judge, jury, and executioner without actually going through actual other courts, like real courts. So basically, it started off in regards of, and this is from my basic understanding of it. So you know how they threw out studies like, 1 in 5 women get raped on college campuses. So because of situations like that, so whoever the suspect was, they get immediately reprimanded for such a situation without necessarily having lawyers, police officers, the actual true judicial system involved. So but that has all been exposed, saying like, the studies are wrong in regards of how, or the way we view those studies to say 1 in 5 women get raped on college campuses. That's completely fabricated. And or even Title IX, how he talked about how Title IX basically really impacted men's sports because women don't necessarily do sports like that.
Mm-hmm. The varsity athletics, yeah,
exactly. Like the varsity athletics is just like, so I could tell, to speak from personal experience, like a lot of college wrestling programs got cut, over the course of decades because there wasn't a women college equivalent program. So because they didn't necessarily see that such a program existed for women, the men's sports got hurt from it. So and this all comes from like policies and studies and stuff like that, which are very vague, and they institute these things in college without necessarily foreseeing the repercussions of it.
Yeah, that was the one where they had to have Title II was about having that equality, right? And
exactly.
The certain amount of sports had to be equal to the population of the student body, but your program will get cut because if girls didn't want to wrestle, then they wouldn't have a wrestling program.
Exactly.
So now you're going to cut the male wrestling program because girls don't want to fucking wrestle. Shit is dumb as hell. Yeah, that shit is ass backwards.
So should colleges, so the question, going back to the question, should colleges do more comprehensive study before implementing policies on their universities?
I'll go first, then I'm out. And y'all let me know whatever book it is, because my mom is having some technical difficulties with her computer, and it's her birthday today, so I'm trying to be nice.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mama.
I'm going to say that the only difficult part with that, specifically Title IX funding, is you get money that comes along with that. So I'm pretty sure that they know that there's flaws in whatever program is being run, but does it outweigh the fact that I'm getting these, this financial assistance, or my college is getting this money as a result? So should they do it? Yes. Would they do it? No. Like, that's it. Fellas, y'all let me know what the next book is. All right. I'm giving this a 5.5 out of 10. I'm just do all this now. I didn't mind it. I just didn't know the whole thing was going to talk about like college. I liked at the beginning how they talked about kids, and then I thought there was going to be a section that talked about college, and then another section that talked about different parts of coddling. So I'm going 5.5 out of 10 on this one. Fellas, y'all stay blessed. Text me what the answer is. I'll tell my mom yesterday happy birthday. I'll text me what the next book is.
Deuces.
All right now.
And save some cake, nigga. Save some cake.
You got it.
Black Zeus Smith.
That's the whole thing. It's the unequal outcome does not always mean that there's an underlying injustice, man.
And that's beautifully stated.
That's what happened with that college shit. You know what I mean? They're looking at it like, well, the outcome is we don't have this. It doesn't mean that there was an injustice going on. It just means that females weren't fucking interested in it. Like, what the fuck? There's not going to be everything for everybody. All right? This whole inequality, equality thing, listen, just because we have it doesn't mean that you have to have it. Or do you want to even do this? Or you want to have this shit on the board, but nobody wants to run track and field for girls? You know what I mean? It's like some bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that whole part. Like that whole title shit, that was some bullshit. And I know a lot of people did get affected by that. That was corny as hell. That's all.
Yeah,
Black Zeus?
Yeah, I think there should be more comprehensive work done on that. And as far as the Title IX, I've always been against equality of outcome instead of equality of opportunity, because it this is like, so for instance, the girl that was on, I think, Brown, the Spanish young lady who wrote a letter or wrote an article, and the dean said, hey, let's work on this together so that we can change, or whatever the case was. And she went ballistic on it. It's like, oh, I guess I'm just not that, brown mold. And it's just like, yo, nobody said that you wasn't. Obviously you're here, obviously you're part of the school. You were accepted into the school. It's just that not that many people of your ethnic background wanted to fucking be here. Mm-hmm. Or maybe qualified to be here. Did you ever think about that? You know? And I find that they do that everywhere in society. Like, it's insane to me. Like, when I hear this bullshit of, oh, there's only this many women that are CEOs. Well, how many women are trying to be CEO? Are you trying to be a CEO?
California passed an outrageous law that now every major corporation that's headquartered in California must have one female on the executive board.
See, and it's shit like that.
Like that,
yeah. But yet no one will ever say, let's say 40% of garbage men should be women. Exactly. They'll never say, street sweepers should be women. They'll never force that shit. They only want to force the pretty shit that looks all good. But when it comes to, you don't look for equality in all of it. The good and the bad.
What book was that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we read a book about that. What was the book with the girls?
The Myth of Male Power.
Miners. The Myth of Male Power. That was when they didn't want to be coal miners and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit. Like, you don't want to be a coal miner. That's not what you really want to do.
You don't really want equality, because guess
what?
You
really want equality. Yeah.
You get to see the same equal opportunity to be garbage man as you get to be the CEO. But you're not concerned about that equality. Mm-hmm. You're only concerned about the equality of being the CEO. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes the argument fucking weak.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because as he was reading this, it immediately made me think of, like, I knew Title IX caused some sort of injustice. And Smith, I would like to hear those stories about people you knew that was impacted by Title IX, because I just only knew it from a wrestling perspective in regards to the programs that got cut. But it was just like to hear Jonathan Haidt give the perspective of like, yeah, when you do a deep study of women in sports, like, yo, it's not that many women who are really into sports like that anyway. Like, even during their down leisure time that's not required in PE, women don't engage in athleticism like boys do. So it's just like to institute policies to get, like you were saying, Black Zeus, that sort of that same outcome of equality is just absurd on its face. It's just like it's causing more damage than it is good.
Yeah. But you see, hey Cash, you seeing examples of it. You sent us the picture of Susan, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, man? Like, really? Really?
Like at the end of the day.
Like, so, but at the end of the day, if Schubert came out there and popped your ass and hit your ass just like you should be hit because you're on a football field, then it's an issue, right?
Yep.
The fuck out of here, man.
I'm waiting for her to make a coverage. Yeah, because yeah.
And somebody gonna push her ass all down, and then it's gonna be like, oh, why would you push her like that?
Exactly.
It's football,
and that's the reality of it, is the fact of, like, everyone talks about this equality of outcome, but they don't look at equality. Like, do you have the opportunity? Sure. But guess what? There's going to be a certain point where you get boxed out because either you're not smart enough, you're not strong enough, you're not fast enough, whatever the case is. It's called survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
It's not, if we're just giving everybody a trophy and saying everybody wins, then what's the fucking point of having the competition?
Yeah.
So we're not trying to get the cream of the crop to come to the top. We're just taking everybody in. Any fucking could just jump on in and be the president. Well, we already had that problem. But
you could buy your way to presidency, bruh. Yeah. That's what it's looking like. You could buy your way to presidency.
And the book was talking about. The book talked about this thing, and
But here's my thing. Here's my thing, right? I want it where people have this option. Listen, you need this life-saving heart surgery. You could get this surgeon over here who is very well qualified. He's the best in his field. He's got all this experience. Or you could be equal outcome and get any female that just barely passed. Or just, you know what? She didn't barely pass. She was a B student, or she was a C student, or, whatever. And, because she's a female, we put her on the board, but we're not, to be equal, we're going to give you the C student versus the A student regardless, because we want to be equal in that shit. How many people would say, yeah, sign me up?
Yeah.
I don't want the A student. I don't want the one that qualified because of their skills and their ability. I want them to be, I want them to be doing my heart surgery because it's fair to let, we have to have enough transgender heart surgeons. We need to have enough Black, Spanish, female, transgender, lesbian, gay, whatever. We need to fill in every fucking box.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember. I think this was back in the summer. I think we probably weren't. I wasn't doing the news segment yet, but California, they're looking to lower the bar exam to get more minority representation.
That's some bullshit.
California's looking to lower the bar exams so that they could get more minority representation, bro. I would say you the headline.
That's some dumb shit. Why do you have to lower the exam? You'll still get more minority representation. Why don't you do this? Don't lower the exam. Why don't you just pay for more minorities to go to law school?
That's a good solution.
Or how about
you don't have to lower the exam because motherfuckers will pass. You don't have as many minorities doing it because that shit is very expensive, and motherfuckers aren't in a situation where they can afford it, so they opt to do something different. So why don't you pay? Keep the exam the same and pay.
Yeah.
But I had a question for you all that wasn't in this question. The book was talking about that Army General McPherson, right? Proposing his gap year, right?
Oh, yeah. Right, you just take a break after high school to, before you go to college, right? You don't take the break
you move. You don't take a break. You move away from your parents, and you go and live away from them, and you work. You live and work away from them, so you can start to get the
independence.
The independence, yeah. So you can start to get the independence before you actually enter the college phase, because so many people with coddling their kids up until that point. What you think about that shit, though?
I'm not opposed to it.
I'm not opposed to it either. It's interesting.
I mean, in Israel, as soon as you turn 18, you have to serve 2 years in the military. Male, female, doesn't matter. You got to serve 2 years as soon as you turn 18 before you can do anything else.
I agree. I think one of my biggest issues, and just from my experience, I hated the fact that I went to college blindly like that. And just like, not really having a strong sense of what I wanted to focus on. Gaining much experience, because the way college institution is so expensive that you have that little window to make a quick decision, because you don't want to constantly be in college forever racking up a shit ton of debt. So it's just like, you kind of like, I like the idea of a gap year. I think a gap year, like thank you, Shu, for even talking about Israel. I think it shouldn't even be a year. I think it should be like 2-3 years before you even enter college, unless you strictly know, like there's certain majors, concentrations that that, hey, this is the path I want to go. Like if you knew you want to be a doctor since fucking sophomore year of high school, then by all means. But like someone like myself, which I think there are many kids like myself, when they enter 18, they have no clue.
No, I don't think any kid has a clue when they go into college at 18. Yeah. Like we're all following this traditional path of like, go to college so you can get a good degree, so you can get a good job. Yeah. And we have no fucking clue. Honestly, I think colleges would even run a lot better if you gave them an entrance exam that was much like the military's entrance exam, because the military has what's called the ASVAB, and then there's another test called the Bragg test, and there's a couple different tests. But long story short, the military has made a way to funnel you into an area that is best suited for your ability and your knowledge and skills. So it's like, I don't care if you want to be a fucking Navy SEAL. Dude, your intellect level and what you're good at is being a fucking mechanic. So guess what? You're gonna fix the Humvee. That's what you're gonna do.
You sound like you should run for president. You sound like you're talking about free education for everybody, so that way you can funnel it. Colleges are based off making money, man. You know that shit.
Because the reality is,
I like
most of these motherfuckers,
years, right?
You can have all these dreams, but you might not be good for it.
No, because you don't have to be in college for fucking 4 years. So you do the 2-year gap program, and then you do the 2 years of college. You only need 2 years of college. You know what I mean? All that other shit, all that filler to get the money from us is cool.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just
true.
Because
your core work, don't take that long.
Your core work.
It's all that extra shit that they throw in.
Yeah. I did like it though, man. I really wish that a gap year was presented to me, the idea of it, and hopefully a lot of students do that, because a lot of these kids get so indoctrinated into school because they don't know their identity or what they want to do, so they go with the first thing that becomes readily available to them.
And it's like Schumann said, motherfuckers just go with that. Okay, you're done with high school, go to college.
Yeah.
For what? Because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, man. That's my biggest regret, bro. Like every time I look back at it, I'm like, man, I wish I had somebody tell me otherwise. I just wish I had somebody tell me otherwise, man.
Because quite frankly, it's just that we sell this dream that no longer exists. Like when
it doesn't exist anymore.
When back in the 80s, out of 10 people, maybe 2 or 3 went to college. So 2 or 3 people that went to college are going to stand out amongst the crowd. But now in 2020, when it seems like 8 or 9 out of it seems like 8 or 9 out of 10 people have a college degree, whether it was online, in school, Ivy League, around the corner, university, whatever the case may be, everybody's getting a degree, and it's lost its value. It doesn't have the impact that it is. Become a money game.
Yeah.
College is definitely oversaturated. Yeah.
especially in America, we just go just because, like you said, that's just what we're told to do. Other countries, they go to school because they really trying to do something with that shit.
But you saw the game, like you said, is a business. The game that they do on these college campuses, and there was a chapter where Jonathan Haidt talks about it, like LSU, where they built a moat. Like they built these college campuses.
The LSU, lazy river.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the lazy river. Yeah, like they do
we
shit
want
on
you to
college.
be at home.
Exactly. Like they make colleges now where you at home where you never want to leave that mofo.
You never want to leave, yeah.
Not realizing that bill is just raking up.
That bill is just real.
It's just like, oh yeah, you want to say it extra? Yeah, go right ahead. We're just gonna tack on another $30,000 to your bill.
Another $30,000.
Well, and here's the reality. Part of that is because they know the fact of I forget which book said it, but long story short was the fact of when the government started, granting money towards colleges, the colleges is like, what? Government money? Yeah. Yo, let's turn this shit the fuck up.
Yeah.
Colleges in the last 20 years have gone up. Like the cost of college has gone up. Last I remember the statistic was like 2,500%.
Bro, you're not lying.
But the income has only gone up by like 2.3% or some shit like that.
Yeah. In the past 30 years, income, it's crazy how our society is. Inflation is a mofo for everything else except for your income.
Yep. Cost of living goes up, cost of college goes up, but how much money you make, not so much.
And maybe when you got to, I think you're right. I think colleges, I remember seeing a bar graph, I think colleges had the most inflation in the past 30 years than any other commodity or any other thing.
Listen, I remember back in the 80s when I was growing up, college was like $40,000 for the whole 4-year degree.
Yo, but that shit big business. I was looking at the sports programs, and with Nike and Adidas was paying the colleges, bro, to put their name up there. That shit is bananas. And college athletes should definitely get paid.
And think about how much money is in all these college what do you call it? Their bank account. I forget what the word I'm looking for. But the whole thing is all these colleges have more than enough money to run for the next decade or 2 decades.
Yeah.
They can, they don't have to like bleed these kids and give them a degree that like they're $100,000 in debt to get a job making $40,000 a year that they could have got without the fucking degree.
I do, because I gotta pay the goddamn the football coach $5 million a year.
Yeah,
that's BS, bro.
That is crazy to me.
And pay the college professor $120,000.
But the college professor can't be mad because that football program is bringing in that money for you to get that dough.
Yo, what does that? But hold up. Does it though?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Hold up. Cash. Does it though?
Bro,
because here's my thing.
Alabama football program is like worth $1 billion, bro.
Okay, the football program is worth $1 billion. How much is their degree worth?
Well, shit, ain't nobody look, yo. I'm just saying, if I'm a professor,
like listen, if I play for Alabama trying to go into the NFL, that looks great. But if I'm trying to work in corporate America and there's like, well, I play for Alabama, well, that nigga over there went to Harvard. Who you think getting the job?
Understood. I get that.
Yo, you know what's funny though? It's weird that you put it like that, because what does the Alabama degree cost and what does it really do? I know it's a football school. I know that shit is a football school.
Everybody knows that's a football school. But beyond that, what is it? Is it really a school anymore? And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like if you go overseas and you like, I want to go to college, you're like, yeah, sure, go to college, no problem. Some governments pay for their kids to go to college.
Actually,
and guess what?
Is it true overseas? They don't even have sports part of their college program.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
If you want to play sports in overseas, you got to join a sports club. There's no sports in college.
Yeah.
This is a place of academia, of higher education, not of sports.
Yeah.
Not of sports.
Once again, because America America's drug is entertainment.
Hey, America's drug is entertainment. And that's why so many people going through that shit, because it's COVID. We can't be entertained.
Bro, I'm glad I went to a boring-ass 4-year liberal arts schools because I did not want to be there any longer. I was like, I'm going to do my 4-year bid, and I'm out. Because I know some cats who went to, like, HBCUs, and they were there for, like, 6-7 years. I'm like, damn, bro, don't you want to get out? But they were having too much of a good time that
they was chilling.
They was chilling.
Listen, my brother went to Lincoln University. I went up there and stayed with him for 1 week. I did some projects for some kids in art class and got A's on that shit, bro. His roommates and shit. And I said, oh, hell no. I can't go to no HBCU.
Yeah. You know,
hell no.
No, I know cats who been there.
I know my personality. That shit wasn't gonna work.
I know cats who went to school for 5 years. He went to, what school was it? I think it was Clark. He went to school for 5 years and still didn't manage to graduate, bro. Still didn't because he got caught up with what the college had to offer him. Nothing that had to do with academics.
And it wasn't a degree, huh?
Yeah.
Listen, you went to college. We all knew that one dude on that campus that was like 23 years old. And still like a junior or sophomore.
Like, yo, what's the incoming freshman? I'm like, yo.
That motherfucker take 6 credits a semester.
Yeah.
Just to still be there.
Trying to come to the freshman dorm and shit.
Trying to come to the freshman. I'm like, yo, get your old ass out of here, bro.
Yeah, get your old ass out of here, bro.
Oh my God.
Like, shouldn't you be trying to graduate so you get up out of here? But nah, man. Like you said, that lazy river when he was talking about what these universities are doing on these campuses to make it more appealing, I could see how cats stay there, for freaking 5, 6, 7 years now these days, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. All right, fellas. So, what do you guys rank the book, man? Let's get into the ranking.
We need to be a consistent rank here because that whole 5 out of 5.5 out of 10. Could we keep it to a simple 5?
Yeah, that's what I thought. He threw me for a loop. So
right, he fucked me up with that 5.
I thought he was giving a 5 I thought he was giving 5.5 out of 5 in this.
Yeah.
He went to a whole nother ranking though.
I was like 5.5.
I was like, damn, bro. You like that book that much? You gave that.
That's
shit
what I was saying. I was like, damn, you like that shit.
Damn.
So I'm gonna go back with the 5, and I will go. I am with Henry about. He did start going into the university and talk about the hope of your university a lot. But I would say I would actually give it a 4. I like the content of the book. I felt like it was an easy read for me. And like you said, Cash, I've been telling people, like, people ask, like, what are you all reading now? And I'd be like, oh, we're reading the Coddling of this. We're reading this. And they're like, well, what's that about? And I started explaining to people, and that's what I was talking to my kids. I like being able to put into practice what we're currently reading.
Yes.
And I was telling my kids, and I'm starting to use the word coddling. Like, I'm not coddling you. You got to know how to wash dishes. Like, you got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm explaining you how to do them because you're 12 and you should know how to wash dishes. I don't know why you don't wash dishes at your mama's house. Like,
because there's a dishwashing machine, Daddy.
Yeah, like what? Like, yeah, that's what she said. But I can't send you a dishwasher, girl. If you don't get your ass, you better bust them suds and stop playing. You got to learn how to do them the right way first before you can use a dishwasher. But yeah, I think overall, I didn't know he was going to be talking about the university, and I think that universities should have the same way they try to do the gender equality and they try to get their diversity. They should allow those diverse speakers to come on their campus. They should have they should allow for diverse opinions to be allowed on their campus. And I think a lot of the book was talking about that doesn't necessarily happen. Basically, if we just want to kind of fight some shit, we just say, hey, the 3 of us could be like, no, we don't like this, and we can pass out a few flyers and we can have this never happen on our campus, and which does a disservice to the other kids. But yeah, it was more about the university. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good read. It was different for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that the books that people select from this club are different. You know, would I have picked this shit up on my own? No. And I think that's why I liked it, because I would never pick it up.
All right, Black Zeus.
I thought the book was pretty good. I give it 4 out of 5. I thought it was well written, because it wasn't too hard on like millennials and this whole mindset, this, that, and the other. It wasn't too like, it wasn't hard left. It wasn't hard right. It was right in that centerist kind of thing. Like, listen, you got to give room for any difference of opinion, regardless of what it is. So I appreciated the book. I think it was well written, and I give it 4 out of 5.
Yeah, well, just about to be a unanimous 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. Like you said, it wasn't a difficult read. It gave me insight because I work in corporate America. Like, now that I'm becoming the old head, it gave me insight as to like the mindset that I'm starting to see at my workplace, and how the younger work, crew of people, and how corporations are transforming themselves to basically adapt to their philosophy, which I have my opinions on, and they're not necessarily great opinions, but I like it. It basically is something that I think we all need to be aware of, like that Utah had to pass a bill to let people have their kids free, like allow them to free range and play. That's crazy. I didn't know that was the case. I didn't know parents was getting arrested for letting their kids play unattended. I think these are issues that do need attention. And so therefore, because they were presenting issues that I didn't know that was actually happening, not only on the college campuses, but just in like elementary schools, that was finding itself trickling onto college campuses is eye-opening and very concerning. So yeah, 4 out of 5. Because easy read, brought issues that I didn't know that was actually happening, and and it was and it was easy to share with a lot of people, because when you talk to other people and they and you get parents to talk about coddling, they all had their varying opinions. So I was able to like try to measure what people had to say with coddling on their own anecdotal experience in this book. So yeah,
it opens your eyes, Kat. It definitely opens your eyes, because like Shuba was saying, my son walked around the corner. He was walking to the school. They called me and shit, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy, because I see students and I'm like, how you get here? Oh, my mother sent me in an Uber. My mother sent me in a Lyft.
Say what?
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what? Don't you live 2 blocks away? Shit, like, what the hell? And it baffles me, because I'm like, yo, and they dead ass serious. Like, no, this is how I travel. And I'm like, for real? Like, you didn't walk 2 blocks? Or I got in the Lyft. Like, you don't get on a bus. You don't get on the bus. Oh yeah, my mother don't like me getting on a bus, so she puts me in a Lyft or Uber. It's like, yo, for real?
That's crazy.
That is. It is. And I look, like you said, 5 hours playing football. I'm saying, yo, we used to go play football, baseball, basketball, whatever. Hours on end.
Yeah.
No vision.
Yeah.
And now that's problematic.
It's problematic. It's considered risky, unmanaged behavior.
That's how we learned. We learned a lot. We learned a lot. That's what made me say, oh, no, don't do that ever.
Yeah.
Okay, you can do this. This is cool. Yes, we can do this. No, don't ever do that. That's not going to end up good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes me nervous a little bit about the future. I am not going to even lie.
Yeah, it does.
It really does, man. It makes me nervous, bro. Like the fact that you got a phone call because your son had walked to school. I mean, left school by themselves out of school hours. That's concerning to me, man. Like, that's crazy that you could possibly be reprimanded for that.
Now, I wouldn't take my kids to the park and drop them off and then leave.
How far is the park from your house, though?
I got 2 parks by my house, but shit, either one of them bitches I wouldn't take my kids to and leave.
But at what age?
That seems like poor parenting to me.
All right, so
now, mind you, if my kids are 15, I'll leave their ass at the park.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I leave your ass at the park. Listen, I was 8 years old on 125th Street in Harlem selling buttons. My uncle gave me and my cousin some money and told us to find our way back home. Now, he tells the story that I never left y'all. We like, yo, you fucking left us. He like, no, I was following y'all closely. Y'all didn't know I was following y'all. I was in the van. Well, how was the van following the train, motherfucker? Like, you wasn't with us. You just left us out there. But my uncle was on some. He was raised under Islam, and he was a man's man. And he was like, yo, this is how you learn, man. I'm taking y'all asses to Harlem. Y'all gonna learn how to make money, and y'all gonna learn how to get home. And this is what we do. You know what I mean? And that it strengthened me. You know what I mean?
Facts,
would I do that shit to my kids? Hell no, I wouldn't do that shit to my kids.
But that's interesting though, because my mom, I'll never forget when I was living in Irvington, I used to catch the 1. And the 1, you know, goes through some rough spot of Irvington. And yo, she rode the bus with me a couple of times when I was like 10. So that I knew how to catch, you know, knew the routes. And then I would probably say after several times where she accompanied me to learn the routes, she left me because obviously she had no choice for me to learn those routes because she also had to work. So it was just like I had to learn those routes, period, because she couldn't necessarily afford to basically monitor how I was coming back and forth to school with me and my brother. But like, it gave me that ability to explore, like learning, oh shit, if I got off the wrong stop, you know, how many times I got off the wrong stop because I was bullshit.
Hey, I was just about to say that. When you get off at the wrong stop, you like, wrong neighborhood, shit, wrong spot. Damn it, why I get off here? I got to pay better attention.
Exactly.
I'm not supposed to get off the bus right here. This is not it.
Hey, listen, I'll trump you one. When I was around whatever age, 5th, 6th grade, my parents got divorced. My mom moved to Jersey, East Orange, New Jersey, and my dad was still living in Brooklyn, this, that, and the other. And I forget what reason it was, whatever the case is, but my mom would send me to go see my dad in Brooklyn in I want to say 6th grade, from East Orange, New Jersey to Brooklyn, New York. I used to get on the 21 bus on Main Street, ride that down to Penn Station, Newark, go up to the PAV train, hop on the PAV train to World Trade Center, go across World Trade Center, go through the tunnels to go find the subway, get on the number 2 train at Park Place, and get off at Beverly Road in Flatbush, Brooklyn. And I did this I probably was around 11 or 12 at the time. And when I think back on it now, nobody stopped me. Nobody said, hey, kid, where's your parents?
But that was an era where it was acceptable, bro. It
was different.
It's different.
But yet, I feel terrified to send my son to school.
That's crazy, though.
Around the corner, so I gotta fill out paperwork.
Smith doesn't want to drop his kids off at the park, knowing damn well he didn't spend hours at the time at the park playing games. You did all this, you know, Carmen Sandiego exploration, and now both of you got kids, and you guys don't want to do the same shit that you guys grew up with your